Today it's me and the dogs. We're hiking up in the woods with 4 game cameras. We're going to an area where last November I found a few square-toed bucks with really wide gaits and a nice stride on them. So one of the goals this year is to shoot a 200+ pound buck. The only way to do that really is to get out here and do a little bit of preliminary research before the season. So I've got a few months to get it done. My plan is to get these cameras set up strategically way out in the swamps and leave them there for a month, get back to them later on, maybe about a month and 4 to 6 weeks or so. And then if I gotta move them, I'll move them. If I found a really good spot, I'll leave them there and see if we can pattern the bucks. And then I'll get out here in archery season. I might saddle stand or still hunt. I don't know, but I'm sucking wind because I'm so out of breath from just sitting at my desk. So we're hiking up this trail. We get way out there. I've got until about 3 o'clock to get off the ridge before thunder showers roll in. So we're gonna push for it. I'm just following these guys the whole way. No tracks yet. Beautiful morning though. Some nice grass. The bucks would be grooming through here. The does would be grooming through here. Just gotta keep pushing. It's gonna level off a little bit and not be so steep, which will give me a little bit of a break. But you always think it's gonna take longer than it does to get to the top of these mountains because it sucks. It's even harder on the west coast. I don't know what I'm complaining about. So, beautiful view over here. I'm probably actually 25% of the way there. So the thing about these hikes is I'm not going for these satellite bucks that just kind of hang out in the general populace and, you know, if you shoot a nice 8-point, great. We're trying to kill something huge this year. I'm talking a really, really big rack. So as you can see, that's a peak down there. You've got sort of a ravine that cuts across. So we were way down behind that mountain, hiked up all the way around. So we're about 2 shelves up the ridge. As you walk up this trail, I happen to notice on my left-hand side, up one of these log chutes, you've got like a trail right here. So this is a spot that you'd consider putting a game camera. Now, I'm not exactly where I want to be. So what I'm going to do is get to where I want to be first, way up on the mountain. I'm going to circulate through that flat area, see if there's any really good sign for a possible large buck. If there isn't, that's when I'll make my way back down the mountain to these points that I know are here and strategically place cameras. I'll leave them out here for a month, get back to them. If I gotta move them, I'll move them. But anytime you get a natural trail like this that just obviously snakes its way through vegetation, it makes sense to get a camera on that. You'll probably, at this point in the year, you'll probably be getting black bear. As there's a bunch of raspberry bushes through here that are eating berries, or you'll be getting deer at night. Does are usually whenever, but usually you're getting bucks early season like this, moving nocturnally. So keep moving. Got a trail right there. I mean, it's tough to say. There's definitely traffic through here. I can smell them too. I think we just gotta keep going up because all the traffic is either going up and down or down and up these chutes. So what's up? That's the question. I need to answer that before I put cameras down here. Starting to get into a real piney knob which I know for a fact bucks are typically working in and out of these things, and then often on the sort of intersection of hardwoods and softwoods. That big buck that we saw probably 30 minutes ago was coming this way into woods like this. And so often what you'll find when you get on a huge deer is he'll drag you through these really thick softwood groves. And then the whole purpose is to desincentivize anything from following him, but at the same time, it slows down predators. The buck can smell you for longer, or has a better opportunity of smelling you. And then you're also going through all these whips and over these branches and stepping on sticks, and they know that. So really what they're doing is they're creating a sound barrier around their bed. So when you follow a buck from hardwoods into this shit, you better slow down. You better slow way down. I don't care how slow you gotta go. You get down on your knees, glass, make sure you're looking for legs, looking for shapes that don't make sense. Shape of a butt, a tine, antlers, ears, eyes. You're not looking for a whole deer in these settings because you're not going to see the whole deer. But I'm starting to feel really good about where we're at. This is that type of area where we start to see real big swamp bucks that literally live in like 1 square mile in just mossy, quiet, thick shit. So I mean, it'd be great to see an antler, but I'm not quite where I want to be yet. At the same time, I'm really starting to like the biodiversity that I'm seeing for trees. Oh, I gotta bring my fly rod up here. Maybe tomorrow. I bet there's brookies in here. Oh, there's 100% fish in here. Goose, that's probably pretty deep, guy. Nice deep run. I bet you there's brook trout right in this pool. I'm gonna come up here and fish this with a 3-weight. Stay tuned for that one. How cool is this? Get on Onyx. Mosquitoes are bad this year. We had so much rain. They're doing well. Oh, look at this guy. It's falling in there. Yeah. All right, cool. Look at this. You got a quick run and then it slows down. Some nice boulders for habitat. I bet you there's brook trout right behind that big rock and right up against that rock right there. This would be a really fun brook to just hike. Try to catch some fish. You got some beautiful runs up there. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna have to come back out here. Why not? Look at this. I mean, there's got to be fish in here, right? Look at the view. We got some rises over there. Look at that. There's fish in here. That's crazy. This is just a friggin' random beaver pond. You've got the dam right there. Huh. Journey continues. I'm just excited to be out here. I'm seeing some great habitat. Like, see that shelf out there? Nice and flat, not too aggressive. And then you've got a cliff. Those bucks are gonna travel alongside the bottom of that steep ravine, or ridge top rather. it's just a fact. It's how they travel. It's how they've always traveled. So my idea here behind what we're doing today is we're gonna get out in this habitat, this is big buck killing habitat out here. Like, this is where you get into those deer that you never expect to see, you never think are here in New Hampshire, but there are massive bucks out here. You just have to be willing to spend a lot of time in solitude, a lot of time, this size of that bull moose, a lot of time tracking, a lot of time planning, a lot of time looking at maps, a lot of time driving if you don't quite live in this area, which I used to, and now I got to come back. So the thing is like the most successful hunters are just the ones that work the hardest. You can have really shitty hunters that kill big deer every now and again, but the ones that do it over and over and over again are the guys that are out here looking for these huge bucks, putting the time in, setting the cameras, and really studying the landscape to put themselves in the best possible position. I mean, just the size of that track is enough to get me going up here. Look at this beaver. He's coming right through here. He's got a little trail. Comes up, goes up into the trees, cuts trees down. See that? So sick to be out here. You got another trail, beaver. It's all beaver. I mean, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't you come out here? I don't really know. Hey, you guys are gonna drown. Come over here. Oh shit. I want to put a camera in here, but there's nothing to suggest that I should. There's no signposts, there's no rubs that I see. The mosquitoes are pretty friggin' brutal. I might have to put a rain jacket on to protect my neck and head, which is gonna suck because it's so humid. So all I'm doing right now is looking for a nice annual rub tree, a signpost. One of those trees that all these bucks come and rub. They hit them yearly. Seeing a lot of animal traffic all throughout this grass. I think it's mostly black bear. It's not exactly what I'm looking for, but I know once I get out to the bog, I'll be able to walk the perimeter and see if there's any traffic inward, and that's exactly where I'm going to put the cameras. Around resources, right? Like, where do they need to get their water from? They couldn't get it from brooks, but it's often the case that these deer visit the bogs. I mean, look, not a single deer track. Sucks, but we know there's stuff going on in a lower altitude, so I can get back down there on our way back and strategically set up cameras. But I think I really do need to get one up here. I mean, like, there's just, the dogs are running up the trail. I've got like these outshoots all over the place. I'm just not seeing buck activity from last year, which is what I'm looking for. I'm a little late, honestly. I should have been out here February, March, so that I could pattern them, figure out like where they are. We're just doing it now. I mean, I'm not like in the worst situation ever, but it would have been better to know what the hell's going on a lot sooner. So I'm going through all these muddy areas and I'm looking for huge tracks. I want to see big deer tracks or a lot of doe tracks. And I'll get set up. I know for a fact there's going to be big deer in here. We had someone from the community not long ago, I had mentioned earlier, shoot a monster whitetail, and that whitetail was coming off this ridge. I had my father years ago, I think it was 97, shoot a absolute monster where like the beams were so thick they were starting to spread out into like a moose paddle would look like, vertically though. And those bucks, time and time again, you'll see, you'll be up in these areas and be like, oh, there's nothing up here. And so you'll spend days in these areas and you're getting discouraged, and then all of a sudden you cut that track and you're like, well. And a lot of the times I've been successful pretty low on the ridge early in the morning, or coming down from the top of the ridge just before dark. I mean, last year's buck, I shot him right before it got dark out, and I was dragging him out in the dark. 10 point before that was, I had hiked way out in the ridge. All day long, I'm moving through beach whips, I'm getting tired, the tracks are old. I just kept following the tracks because it was a lot of snow. The tracks were pretty small, but I'll follow those if I don't have anything else because bucks intersect each other. And then finally, I get on the big guy that I've been looking for. We had him on camera earlier that fall. So I'm following him. I end up finding 6 beds. They keep pushing toward a river. They get to the river, instead of crossing it, they start moving down the ridge, following the river. I was just still walking as slow as possible, paying attention. And eventually I get to this point where I'm slowly moving my gun through some softwood branches, sort of turning myself, and I get my gun out like this. And it's probably 3 minutes before legal shooting time is over. And I mean exactly that. And I look in front of me, and all I can see is this huge body and this very swollen neck. And I'm like, holy shit. Pull my gun up, aim at him. I'm like, that's a big body. Get the crosshairs to his head, see a massive rack. I'm like, oh shit, buck. Flip the safety off, bring it back to his shoulder, pull the trigger. 3 deer run. I could only see one. It was the buck. So the buck breaks off to the right. Both does keep going straight. And as they're going straight, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't even know if I hit that guy, because most of the time when you shoot these deer, they drop right away. I'm running a 300 Winchester short mag, so there's a lot of concussion behind that round. It really hits them. So I get up to where I think the buck was standing. Turns out that's where the doe were standing. I'm looking down, I'm not seeing blood, I'm not seeing hair. I'm thinking, did I make a terrible shot? Did I just miss a 40-yard shot? You know, what's going on? How could this have happened? So I'm trying to settle myself. I pace back to where I was standing, and I'm like, no, it was 40 yards. So I go back to 40 yards straight where I had shot at the buck, which was another 15 from where the does were standing. So I was just off. It was like an adrenaline dump, you know, you get a little stupid. So I get to where the buck was standing, there's gray hair everywhere, no blood. And I'm like, pretty sure that's a good shot. Thought I made a great shot. I'm not super confident. So I start following his sort of gliding leaps. So every 15, 20 yards, you can see a triangle of tracks where the buck has been jumping through the woods. So I'm following those. And after about 25 yards, I see a sprinkle of blood. I walk another 10 yards, and he had made it all of 40 yards from where I shot him and was already dead. And again, that was me coming off the top of the ridge, working my way down the ridge after being out there all day long, so I was behind the deer. Oftentimes when you get out there early in the morning, if they're later than usual, you might be on those deer while they're still trying to pick up does before they go to bed, if it's early enough in the morning. So I think just being successful in these woods involves a lot of hard labor and then pushing yourself past where you thought you could be pushed. Last year, I mean, I was cramping like crazy coming down the ridge. I was out of water because I didn't bring a life straw. And I'm like, I just need to get out of here. The weather's starting to get bad. It's starting to snow pretty hard. And I ended up losing the buck's track at the top of the ridge. We got up to the top of the ridge and he had walked through like a moose yard. So these moose have been spending so much time in that area that the entire snowpack is pressed down. And because it's pressed down, it's frozen, and that buck's not heavy enough to break through the ice. So I'm a little discouraged, but I know he was sort of making this gradual movement left. And they walk in circles or triangles. So I'm like, I'm gonna go right, and I'll hook down this way while he hooks this way. And what ended up happening is while he was hooking down across the ridge, I was coming down, and about 120 yards down the ridge, I spotted him in the hardwoods, standing there staring at me. Couldn't tell if he was a buck or not, because his antlers were so wide that they were hidden behind small beech whips. And so what I ended up doing is shifting left, shifting right, take a step right, and I end up seeing the rack. I flip the safety off, pull the trigger. Not even sure if I hit him on the first shot. Get down to where he was standing, no blood, no hair. I start doe bleeding and run through the woods. Get up to where this buck had started moving right. And I look up and he just makes an adjustment with his front leg forward, but between two trees, and all I can see are beams behind the tree. Flip the safety off, hit him. He's got his tail between his legs, sort of buckling. I think it's a great shot, I'm not entirely sure. And he ends up folding. And again, 40 yards from where I shot him the second time. There was a buckshot, I think it was an 8-point. It came running into a grunt call, and when it was shot, you could see on the screen it had a lot of blood from its neck. And when they got up there, it had been stabbed by another buck, which must have missed its jugular. Could have been a lethal shot for the buck, and of course it's still running around looking for a fight because it's all tuned up. Now look at this. Wow. Hello, New Hampshire. Deer tracks right here. And wow, look at that. I don't think there's fish here. I don't know if bog is deep enough for it. But I mean, just look at how pretty this state is. So I think what we want to do is work our way over to that power line. I think there's a family of ducks right there. Yep, looks like it. Might want to check out what's going on here. These tracks. Right there, that's what I'm looking for. Boom! There it is. That is a huge buck. Front split, 2 dew claws. Just gotta figure out how they're traveling so I can get them on camera. Ooh, birds. Oh, baby birds. Don't eat that, Pippa. Hey. Oh, God. Pip, leave it. The shepherds, man, I'm telling you, they're a liability. They're like a machine gun with teeth. Leave the bird. Leave the bird. Baby bird somewhere in here. We're gonna get a camera set up right over here. I want it to watch the trail as these guys come in. This is why I wanted to get out here. You see all these paths. These deer, these moose, these black bear, they come here, these ponds, to socialize, to eat, to drink, to cool off. Just, I mean, take in that beauty. We got to be careful. I can feel some wind picking up. I want to make sure we're safe. That saddle right there, that could be another great spot to put a game camera. We'll get up here and get a camera posted. See if we can't get a monster buck on video. Just placed my camera. I've got this super muddy trail. I did see a really big buck track in it. I think it's mainly moose. I could be wrong, but we're gonna find out. Now I'm gonna head out that way. See if we can't intercept some paths on the power lines that are looking really good too. And then we're gonna work our way back and hopefully make it for dinner because I'm already starving. I just have a feeling that I'm going to be able to come out here with a grunt tube and call something huge in. Spend a weekend out here. Yeah, this is why you pay attention. That's deep. I saw an antler. No. I'm seeing more deer poop. If I could find a signpost on this trail, I'm gonna put the camera on that. Facing it anyway. Yeah, what do we got? More deer poop. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You gotta find an area where they're actually at. A lot of people hate hunting and shit like this. Frankly, it's not the best, but you got to figure out that they're here, and then you can do a circle around the area when it snows, check the perimeter and see if he left. And if he did, you pick up his track, you just follow him. You gotta at least know where to start, or you're selling yourself short. And the moose make it easy to walk through this stuff because they just mow through it. Another massive spider. I don't know where the shepherd is. Where is she? Another nice trail up in here. She's got to be down by the water. Yep. Got a little outlet for when the water's real high. Just gonna keep making my way across this pond. It's kind of a pain because it's so thick. And I honestly expected that. You get those flash floods that we've been having this year. You could be standing here and then 5 minutes later you're friggin' up to your knees in water. So you gotta be careful. Keep going. Not graceful, but he did it. Look at this. This is what's crazy. When the pond rises enough, this is all underwater. Freaking log jams in the woods. That's insane. I'm gonna put this camera right on this deer run, and this puppy's gonna sit out here for the next few months. I actually want to get it a little higher. I want to get like right here. You want to be really cautious about how high up the tree you put the game camera. I've had situations where I hung a camera and what ended up happening is it was a little too high. And so every time it was windy and the tree was swinging back and forth, we ended up a sock. That's so strange. We ended up getting a bunch of pictures taken that we didn't want. So we filled the SD card with nothing. So this will be perfect. They're walking straight down this trail. They're cutting right through here. I'll get back out here after this camera sits for a little while. I think it's the 29th today. Yeah. 10:18, feels like 3 in the afternoon. So let's do okay. Time format. No. Alright, we got full battery. We got the right date. These things are ready to rumble. Simple as this. Flip it on, gives you seconds. Sends it down. Get out of the way, walk away from this puppy, and that guy's ready to go. I'm seeing a lot of deer sign in here, so that's gonna be a great spot to have a camera. I mean, a freaking great spot. Really excited about that. Goose, you're not stuck, are you? Oh yeah, you're stuck. Good, good. Come on up here. You are not graceful at all. Yeah, that's probably not a good idea for me to be crawling through there. I'll end up getting stuck. I'm interested in that saddle over there. I just can't tell if the trees are too thick. They're probably gonna be, because we're at that elevation where the forest starts to get a little tight. But I did just come across some serious deer signs, so we'll just keep working this. I got some time. It's no rush. I'm looking for a major run cutting across the power line. That could be a nice deer right there. That's what it looks like. That's bear shit. I mean, it's gotta be a decent sized bear. Prefer to have Pippa not chase them, so I should probably get her. Oh, there she is. You guys want to get out of here, don't you? Alright. Let's make our way back to the power line. I'm not really seeing any deer traffic on this side of the power line. I don't want to... This shit sucks to walk through anyway, so I'm not really trying to absolutely kill ourselves today. I think what I'm going to end up doing is putting some cameras a little bit lower down the mountain. Now I have up top 2 different sides of the pond, And we also have got the opportunity to go down bottom. This reminds me of what everybody says Alaska's like. Goose is getting tired, so he's walking behind me. He's not the most careful dog in the world either, so I'd prefer to get him out of this area. Yeah, that trail's gonna be up here somewhere. Haven't had to buzz Goose once. He's been a good boy. Pip's been a good girl, just hanging out with us. She'll just be on the other side of that rock waiting. She's getting older, so she's not trying to kill everything in sight, which is nice. There she is. She had such a drive when she was a puppy. I had to watch her every 2 seconds. It'd be chipmunks, it'd be birds, she'd think about deer, bear, chasing after them if she could. We were on a casual hike in the winter, and for whatever reason a moose was on the trail that day. She took off after it. Luckily we called her enough to get her out of it before she chased the thing for real, but it's nice to just have these two guys hanging out with me. Look at this bed. Moose must have laid down right there. But like I was saying, it's nice to have these guys to the point where they're trained and can just chill. Here's another bed. That's a deer. Let's see, Goose has got him. That is definitely a deer. Trail right along the side of the power line. Anytime you see a trail right along the side of the power line, it's usually deer. Moose don't give a shit, they'll walk anywhere, but deer like to walk these lines so that they can escape. I'm getting down to this river here for these guys. Decent trail right through here too. Go ahead, Goose. Pete, come here. I'm gonna let these guys cool off. See if there's any fish in this thing too. It might be fun to come back up here and try to catch them. You wanna go in the water? Go ahead, Goose. Go this way. This way. Down. Jesus. Pippa, come up here. The monster spiders are everywhere. Hey. Damn. That's pretty nuts. All right, we're going that way. Look at that funky looking thing. Protect the balls at all costs. What? This is the shit you used to be able to get away with when my parents were kids up here. Look at fucking bullet holes in the side of it. Like, how do you even flip that car in the first place? Like, how did that get here? That's been here for a long time, too. In theory, it's the perfect place to put a camera running along something like that. I think I just need to get more cameras on, put them on more ridges. Pretty tired, that was a long hike. See if one of these things pays off. I think I'm gonna have to pick up some more and start doing more scouting, really figure out where these bigger bucks are, because typically the way I do it is we get snow and then I go to areas where I know there's big deer and I just hope to find their track. But this year I'm trying to do it a little more strategically, find the exact buck that I like and then try to find his track once it's time. Thirsty. Not too hungry, but definitely thirsty. Thunder showers are starting to roll in. You can feel the humidity. I want to get out of here before it starts popping off. This hillside is going to turn into a river. Probably should put a stick in it. Something like this. Loosen that up. All right, 15 seconds, kids. Let's get out of here. Now, the only reason I put a game camera there is because there was high traffic. There was already a trail. Sometimes that's just what you gotta do. Looked good for deer. Not really sure if it's gonna be perfect, but I mean, we're still early season, so we'll have time to move these things around if we have to. I'm gonna have to probably get out and do some more scouting, but it's looking good so far. So mark where this thing is. Whew, perfect. All right, let's beat the thunder showers.